Hey, everyone. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone is good. I got some rest this weekend. I got some sleep. I was very intentional about doing nothing this weekend. I wanted to go get some plants and put them around the house. Listen, I love my plants. And I had a little incident where we had a cold front come in and I left y'all, 4 of my Monstera plants outside, and before I could even just remember what happened, they were gone. I really had an episode where I cried, y'all. If you're a plant lover, you already know my plants had gotten big, they were bold, they were doing its thing. I was able to cut them up and make new ones, and they died. But it was, by my volition, in the hands of me, that my plants died. So I didn't go plant shopping this weekend. I got me some rest, I got some sleep, and I'm going to do that next weekend. I hope that your weekend was fun filled. I hope that you got to do some things that you wanted to do, and I hope that you are ready to dig into this week's episode. Before I go on, I want to shout out 3 people who are listening to the podcast. And y'all, I tell you, whenever I get these messages that people have been leaving reviews on the podcast, I get so excited because it's motivation, but it's also helping me to stay on the right track. So I want to shout out Alyssa Lisi. She got a slash, so it's ALYSSA. Thank you so much for your positive words. Thank you so much for following me on TikTok as well. We also have Tatiana L. Hudson. Thank you so much for your review, and thank you so much for your kind words. And we have Star Latrell. Star, I got something for you. I'm going to hit you up in the inbox. Thank y'all guys for taking the time out to leave a review. That is just like confirmation that I am personally on the right track in my life. I think many of us have come across people who see the light in you and they withdraw. And they can even voice it out loud and tell you that you're doing too much, or they make you feel as if what you're doing is too much for their understanding and their knowledge. And today's episode is simply about, I'm not dimming my light for you. Early on, one of the things that my parents used to tell me as a young child was to always be humble. And so I've always kept that as a regard, no matter, how you show up, whether it is your intellectual ability, your athletic ability, whatever it is that you have, to always be humble, because the humble ones are the ones that people revere. And so I've always kept that inside. But also humbleness can it just can keep us in a box. It can keep us stifled. The understanding of humbleness for me as a child, and even growing up, is to not boast, to not brag, and to not clearly in ways set yourself apart. And so that's always been the motto, and that's always been how I felt like I needed to show up. But also in times in my life, things that I felt like I wanted to do, and I knew that I had the gift of doing, just like you guys, right? The gift of just putting your hands on something and making it just be whatever it is. That gift shines, and people, it's like a sickening feeling. They don't have it, and so therefore they tell you you're doing too much, or they give you the question, well, why are you doing that? Or why you want to do this? Or, it's the multitude of questions that make you question why it is that you show up the way that you do. So when we take that in, what seems to happen is that, the people around us, we conform to the way in which they move. And even if we see the energy exuding in them through their talents, we are happy for them and we are cheering them on. But We can't show up for ourselves because they make us feel that the way in which we show up is foreign. The more we cut ourselves off, the more we dim our own light, and the more we hide, the more we understand that we'll never ever show up for ourselves in a big and bold way, meaning that we don't even know the heights and the pure capacity that really overfills when we are stagnant and staying at a minimum because people want us to show up this way. Also, there are just like radiant, beautiful souled people out there. And if you are one, listen, you'll always know, because it comes with some haters. You can be positive. You can just have like emitting the most beautiful light. You get along with everyone. If you are the type of person where people gravitate to you, people hate that. Like, I always say this, and I've learned this along the way, that, when people say out loud that they're not jealous of other people, it's like a two-way street, because many people want to put jealousy in the category of, being jealous because someone has something. But see, some people get aggravated by the way in which you show up, like organically. Your energy speaks. Your authentic self speaks. Who you are is just natural. And because they can't show up that way, they just, it's like, it's a violent look. It's a violent way in which they speak to you. And it's just a violent way in which they move with you. But I want to tell you something. That is honestly when you know that you are that girl, that you are that guy. It's like you innately have that within you. You don't have to do anything but just show up as yourself and let your light shine. And I really dislike people like this who make it their notion to dim the light of other people, blow out their candle because they're mad that you are shining bright. See, one of the things about it, when you are that way with your talents or just the way in which you naturally show up, you are the needed light to brighten up the room so that people can see clearly. People who dim the light know that they are just an addition. They are just another flicker of a light to brighten up the room. But baby, when you walk in, you brighten the atmosphere. You make the light come. You attract so many things towards you, and you gonna get some folks who gonna hate on you. And even when I'm saying this out loud, I'm thinking to myself, like, this is so elementary in the way in which people are still moving. Like, everybody was so ready to be adults and claim the maturity and the wisdom and move in, ways as being adult. But to be honest, there are a lot of adults who are still moving like children and not operating on their level at their highest, but ready to tear someone down and ready to dim their light so that they can be on top. If anyone has the ability to dim you, then you never had the capacity to just energize your own light. I just refuse to be in a space where there are constant people who are showing up, showing me physically, showing me through their words, and just showing me through the way in which they interact with me that they don't want to be a part of my life. And the beautiful thing about it is that it's okay with me, because I acknowledge and I recognize, first of all, discernment, who you are. And secondly, you did me a favor in moving out of my way. But one thing you won't do is you won't impede the process in which God has laid out for my journey. And respectfully, like, Everyone's light can shine in different arenas and avenues in their particular genre or niche or talent. But there are some people who just need all eyes on them so that they become the main focus and no one is looking to their left or their right, but only being focused on them in the middle. My dear friends, that is very, very dangerous. And the reason why they show up this way, those people, is because they are missing elements and parts of themselves that really are trauma-filled from a past time that you don't even recognize. And so they need to build themselves up and they need to be in front to show the world that, hey, I am here. But see, the beautiful thing about people who have organic light is that they don't have to do anything. As soon as they walk through the room, people notice and recognize them for who they are. And while we're speaking on recognizing good spirits, it's always good to see good people with good hearts. I think the most happiest thing, or the thing that brings me joy, is when I come into contact with someone. And even, listen, I'll be the first to tell you now, I am very much an introvert. And let's explain this introvert thing for a minute, because people be getting it twisted. Now, I'm not the one to normally come up and, hey, how are you? And have a conversation. Like, you got to feed me something so we can go back and forth. I'm the person in the room who is observant and watching everyone, because I need to know, how this person interacts, how this person is, blase. But listen, when we get on to meeting of the minds and a good subject, you got me. I'm locked in and we are having a good conversation. But introverts are mainly the ones that people count out because we say less. Right? We're not the bold and the outspoken people. But when people get to see us and then share the same spaces with us, and especially when you meet a like-minded introverted person who is just the mirror of you, you recognize their light. A few years ago, I said to myself, I just won't be in spaces where I have to dim parts of who I am because people need for me to show up the way in which they perceive me. Like, I recognize, and I'm sure every one of you recognize as well within yourselves, that you are not molded to just one attribute. You are not fitting for one talent. You don't have just one thing that you do well. And if it is that one thing that you do well, I'm saying do it to the best of your ability, because that light that is shining through, it needs to be the brightest that it can possibly be. And I'm saying this being humble. If God called you to speak to the masses, then speak. If God called you to, transform the beauty in people, whether you are a barber, a hairstylist, whether you are an esthetician, whatever that capacity is, when God gave you that, show your light, right? Because this is life changing. If you have athletic capabilities, there's a whole world out there for you that will showcase your talent. Let your light shine. If you're talented in art, making things, sewing, you're a painter, you illustrate, you are a writer, let your light shine. And when I say let your light shine, it is not so much for other people, because really, we recognize that people can be the impeding factor in allowing our true selves to just be our biggest self. But when we show up and we are bright in our light, we are fulfilling self, and we are also honoring God. I'm just a believer that God did not put us here to be mediocre at all. We are here to serve something higher, more higher than ourselves. I have a I have a friend, she's actually a relative, who, oh my gosh, like when she speaks and just when she opens her mouth, what comes out is so beautiful and it is so soothing to the soul. And so we have been communicating on things that she has been wanting to do. And when she told me what she wanted to do, it hit me deeply because I see her doing that, and it's me recognizing the light within her. And I do understand that even if you have like halfway of a light, let's say you at 70% and you're really trying to get to 100%, there are people who will help you light the torch so that your light shines brighter. I want to say that again. There are people who will assist you in lighting your torch so that your light shines brighter. Because when light recognizes light, they attract each other. When they unite, they become bigger. That is the way in which I see how I distinguish people who want to cut off the light and turn you off versus the people who have the light and want to turn you on. So whatever capacity you are in, whatever it is that you want to do, wherever that place is in the indecision or the decision making, all I can say is go for it. It's like once you go over that hump, the biggest thing is being in a place where like you know who you are, right? And you're ready to show up for yourself, but there is just that fear. Once you get over the hump and you start to, whatever it is, you start to do it more and more and more, you gain the confidence and you don't care what nobody feels about you. You are shining bright, you are the light, and you are moving in a way that self-soothes, satisfies, and makes you happy. And it's also one of those things where it's like God is smiling down and saying, you know, great job, my daughter. Great job, my son. You have walked into the place in which I always knew that you were going to be. Okay? So I had a good time talking to you today. Listen, we're gonna recap. Do not dim your light for anyone, and do not allow anyone to dim your light. It is your own. It is your own. When you walk into the room, let it gleam. You can humbly do it. You don't have to, be seen. You don't have to do extra. When people know who you are, they recognize your light. They will come near you. And if they have the light as well, light attracts light. Y'all are a brighter light. That feels good to say. I'm going to say it again. When light attracts light, it becomes a bigger light. And that's the way I want the community to be, like us, period. Like, sis, I see you. I am going to just be there for you. I'm rooting for you. I'm cheering for you. Bruh, I see you out there doing your thing. I'm cheering for you because not only am I understanding that I am the light, but I see the light in you as well. And it's nothing major to me because we all can shine. It's the light dimmers for me that really kill the whole vibe thing that we trying to do, the unison type thing. Keep on being you. Keep on shining bright and just don't give up. Thank you so much for listening in. Thank you for being here. You guys can follow me on IG. Oh, let me tell you about the news. So yeah, So when I talked to you guys last, I was saying how Season Dialogue was really moving. It was, it was really moving rapidly, and we were almost at 10K. Well, we are past 10K, which happened over the weekend. When I say that God is amazing, He is amazing, and He is showing that this was the path that was supposed to have been taken. I wanted to use that again as a testimony for anyone who is like in the limbo of something that they should be doing. Go make that work. So anyway, I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, Season Dialogue. I'll also have a YouTube channel. I'm going to update that so that I can have that handle down for the podcast viewers who read the description. So we're moving. We are family. I love you guys. Thank you so much again for the love and support. Thank you so much for the comments. Thank you so much for the people who connect with me through the podcast and also through social media, who leave me nothing but encouraging words. Like, I can't begin to tell you how many thank yous over and over. Thank you so much. I love y'all. Y'all have a safe week. Y'all, make sure that your mind is at ease. Once you lose your mind, you lose a lot of things. So make sure that you are stable, you're good, and I love y'all. All right, peace.